at airspeed with another special edition of the Winner's Circle with 2311 Racing and Talladega Superspeedway winners Tyler Reddick and his crew chief, Billy Scott. The win at Talladega was gigantic. It was so huge. But what I want to know, because we pulled the curtain back on the Winner's Circle, and I want to know what it was like when you two first got to watch the tape of the win and sat down together and chatted about what you saw.
Oh, this will be the first time, huh?
Yeah, you got the tape?
It was special because it was sort of unexpected. You know, the ones that you dominate or have a fast car all day and you win, it's kind of just feels like that's what it was supposed to happen. And it's kind of like a relief of the pressure that you've been experiencing. But this one was neat because we got ourselves up there. We were leading, but speedway racing is tough. You got to be in the right spot at the right time. And honestly, the last lap there, once we came off of turn 2 and kind of lost our help from behind, I was kind of just hoping we make it back in one piece and have a good points day, honestly, and to stick with it. And, you know, I credit Tyler to not panicking and trying to do too much. You don't have to try to make something happen. It's a long way back around there at Talladega. So just being patient and letting the seas part, so to speak, and driving through there, that's what made it so exciting to me, at least.
You know, I wasn't surprised the first block worked. That one normally always does work. The second one was pretty dang close to working, in the simple fact that if Noah doesn't slam on the brakes to allow Brad to get across his nose, Brad wrecks, Michael wins. So just a lot of things happened in a matter of seconds right there at the end. But yeah, when it kind of broke apart there, I was of the same mindset as Billy's talking about. It's like, all right, let's just bring it back in one piece. There's been so many speedway races, not just in the next gen era, but in the Gen 6 era, where the days have gone pretty good, but I come home absolutely destroyed, wrecked. And I'm pretty sure that's like the first speedway race I've brought a car back with only maybe a couple scratches on it,
So you never, like after the win, put it up on video, brought it up on your phone, went, wow, look at that. I mean, the video from you, from your windshield, from you in the car, as McDowell veers to the right, is unbelievable. So much different than what you saw on TV. It was threading the needle.
I don't think we talked about it. I watched it on my phone, you know, on X or something, and saw how close it was from the in-car view, and just watching back the data side of it to see that he never lifted. He was fully committed, and that part was impressive.
So, as you were leading up to winning the race, as Michael McDowell is having the failed block, you said after the race, "I shut my eyes." That's what you said in the media center. You said, "I closed my eyes and just said I wasn't going to lift." Did you really shut your eyes? Do you think you did? That's what you said.
I think I had a long blank. I could see that. Yeah, I mean, everything happened so fast there. I think for a brief second, yeah, I think I did just momentarily shut my eyes, or maybe it was just time to blink and it was a bad time. I don't know. Maybe I hadn't shut my eyes for the last 30 laps.
They were pointing in the right direction, so
yeah,
sort of look at it, really.
I think for a split second, I thought it was going to be a big hit, and then it ended up not being a big hit. And I think one thing that was probably a little odd that caught people off guard is I wasn't necessarily really even looking at Brad when we were door-to-door clearing the wreck. I was staring at the fence. I was like, I see green, I see green. I saw green lights all the way.
Oh, you were watching the caution.
I was watching the lights on the fence more than anything.
And we really didn't know what was going on from that standpoint, because Talladega is unique that the start finish is so far down there. And there's a couple short tracks that you could be pitted to where you can't see the start finish line, but we really had no idea. It all started to unfold, and you're trying to watch live and you're trying to watch on all of our tools with in-car camera and SMT, but it took several seconds before I think we all in the pit box realized that, okay, the yellow did not come out. We actually did cross the line first, because it was kind of just took a minute to set in. It was kind of surreal and not sure what actually happened.
When you look back at the win, and you know, a crew chief put so much into it, it's not like anything is easy. You don't steal anything. Luck is there. People say, oh, it's a crapshoot at Talladega. But it's really much more than that. You guys put a lot of work into it. How can you define to those who are watching how much it took to get to the point where he's a little bit more confident? Not that he needs confidence, you know.
Yeah, well, speedway racing is tough. It's a totally different type of race, and even the preparation we do, it's more about nowadays the fuel savings of where you want to ride in the pack, of how you're going to execute green flag stops, of what we need to do to minimize time on pit road. So it's a different preparation, a lot of time spent on it. I think I mentioned it in a few different points that we spent a lot of time this winter, Tyler, Nick, discussing how do we get better, how do we choose the right lanes, how do we pick when we go and when we ride. And yeah, there was some senses that we kind of stole it from our perspective, that we maybe weren't up front all day long. But when you look at the way we executed on pit road and the job everybody did from the pit crew side, the Tyler getting on and off, we made up spots every time. We got stage points, which we typically don't do at speedways, or is tough to do for both stages. So we were one of, I think, only 3 cars that had stage points in both stages getting to that point. So the way it cycled there, I know it was helped with the caution with the big wreck with our teammates there from the Toyotas, but we did cycle to the front. So we did have control of the race on the final restart. That's one of the main goals for speedway racing. And we did have reduced help in our line with only having 2 Toyotas, but fortunately for us, they stuck with us most of the whole way. And I don't think Martin ever quit pushing all the way to the very end. So that's what it takes. And so yeah, there is definitely some luck involved, but there also was a lot of preparation and execution side that paid off.
As he was answering that last question, I was, realizing how chaotic it can be when you go from, riding around. I mean, you're not necessarily riding around, you're still working the draft, you're still trying to manage your track position. It's gotten to the point where with the fuel savings that people are still just as dicey, if not more dicey, while we're saving fuel than it is when we're wide open, and 2 lines. So I think the biggest thing is you'll spend the majority of the stages in that fuel save mode, if you will, where, you're not really sure what your car is gonna do, how it's gonna handle, how it's gonna push, how it's gonna receive pushes. And you leave pit road on however many laps it is on tires. So on old tires with fuel in the car, and now you're gonna go out there and you're gonna push at 110% the rest of the run. I think in some ways, it's made it more challenging because there's no build up. As soon as you leave pit road, everyone's pushing for all they got, and you have to be ready immediately to take the aggression right back to 100%. And the last 30 laps, to me, really, really felt that way. There was no holding back on the pushes I was receiving. There was no holding back on side drafts. There was no holding back on the inside lane either. So everyone just pushes really, really hard when we leave pit road for the final time in each stage.
ESPN said after the race that you scurried up the grandstand fence like Spider-Man. And
my kid would love that.
Your kid will love that. And I wonder what it feels like when the worldwide leader in sports compares you to a superhero.
Well, that's
and
cool.
What do you
Definitely
think?
not. I promise you that. I feel my age. But yeah, that was just like heat of the moment, adrenaline type deal. I thought my burnout was pretty bad. I wasn't really settled with that, so yeah, I had to do something else. I wanted to climb the fence, and that was a lot of fun. I should have took my helmet off first, though.
No, it was good. We were happy you had it on.
I couldn't see where I was going on the way back down. I about jumped 3 or 4 times. I would think, I'd go down, I'm like, all right, I gotta be close. And I'd just about jump, and I'd look down, and I'd realize the ground's really far away. So maybe next time I'll take my helmet off or something, so I can see where I'm going on the way down.
How was his burnout?
It wasn't good.
No, I don't think I watched that either yet.
You're working too hard.
It wasn't a good one, I'll be honest.
Let's talk about the boss man, Michael Jordan. MJ is there. You said that you didn't know he was going to be there. Really? Do you hide from him when MJ is going to be on the box?
No, he hides it from us.
He just shows up, right? When he
I
wants
think he
to.
has to, yeah. I mean, if people know he's going to be there, it gets a little chaotic. I had a feeling maybe he was there, but I figured I would have saw or heard about it. The first I heard about it was from Billy on the radio, and I was like, holy crap, we're about to take Michael to victory lane for the first time.
Do you get nervous when he's on the pit box? Start to sweat? I mean, he does kind of grab you by the shoulder and stuff like that, doesn't he?
No, it's actually a calming element. It's interesting that getting to talk to him for a few races, because same deal. I went to Charlotte last year when we were in the chase. Homestead, I think he was there, sat on our box. Like, we don't have any heads up. He just kind of shows up and joins right in and fits right in. He is definitely a student of the sport. It's really cool to see. He'll get up there and chat for as long as you let him he watches every truck race, every Xfinity race, every Cup race, just trying to learn Always has questions of how things apply, and sometimes he'll bring up good points that he is definitely, like I said, he is a student of the sport. He is very in tune, very engaged in what's going on, gives us confidence.
I always have a lot of motivation to win races, but when he's there on race day, or even practice or qualifying day, right? Doesn't hurt to have him there. Now that we've done it once, we got to keep it going. I don't know if it necessarily changes the pressure for us, but certainly we want to do it more often.
Yeah, I don't think it makes it more pressure on it. I think it just makes it more satisfying when it happens, because just to see that emotion on his face, I can only imagine what he's experienced. I mean, he's obviously used to being on the highest stage and having success there, but it's been a while, so I don't know what he's able to get that sort of rewarding, competitive satisfaction from, and just to see his reaction, his genuine reaction, and how excited he was, it was pretty satisfying.
What does this win do for you guys? You were talking about winning the duel at Daytona and how that kind of gave learning experience or confidence or something for Talladega, but then whenever I hear drivers, that gives you confidence to get the win, I don't think of you as a guy that lacks confidence in general. But it's different for drivers. Like, I think that you have a lot of confidence. Did this add that? What did the win do to your soul, to your heart, deep inside?
I think if anything, it kind of patched up some of the holes from earlier in the year. Vegas stung, Phoenix stung, Texas stung really bad the week before. So it had some healing effect, I feel, more than anything. I think myself, Billy, everyone on the 45, and a lot of people here at 2311, we have really high expectations for organization, for our car. Yeah, with that comes that pressure, but it was nice to grab one like that, because it doesn't hurt to have the playoff points.
And I can't speak for him what he's feeling, but it was neat to see all the work and the planning that went in over the winter. Definitely went into Speedway races with a different mindset. I think, like I said, from both Tyler and our spotter Nick, how we're going to race, what we're going to do throughout the race, and to see them follow the plan they came up with and that was discussed, and then have it pay off. Like I said, the dual win, getting stage points in these races, being up front, controlling the race on the last restart, win or lose. It was very, I think, just satisfying that what we went into the race planning to do paid off.
What about the confidence? I got to quickly ask this. He's a confident guy. Everybody thinks that Tyler Reddick is one of the guys that's Spider-Man. I mean, right? He's flying up fences, does he have more confidence now?
I don't know. He definitely has confidence, should have confidence, but he's also very humble. So I know he doesn't like to take that to another level, and doesn't try to assume that we're going to be the best or that he's going to be the best. He still has to go out there and prove it to himself every week.
Confident but not cocky, is that right?
Yes.
Fair?
I like to look at it that way, yeah.
Congratulations on the win at Talladega. Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
nice job.
Yep.
Roast session begins.
Yeah.
Marker?
Continuing with Tyler Reddick, the winning driver at Talladega, and his winning spotter, Nick Payne. Let's talk, before we progress on, about your other team owner. We talked about Michael Jordan. Let's talk about Denny Hamlin. Now, Denny was out. He was about to leave the track. He's on his way out the door. And then you win. What's it like celebrating with him?
Well, certainly, I mean, as he's obviously the owner, one of the owners, but also, the driver aspect of it plays a unique role here at 2311. So, I think just hearing him, compliment how the day went, he was proud of how everything played out. It carries weight as an owner, but also carries weight as a fellow driver.
Did you get to party with him, or like?
He tried. He couldn't get someone to watch his kids, so he wasn't able to partake.
Nick, take us through the end of the win at Talladega. I love how spotters can remember everything,
Right. Yeah.
but what's happening? What are you feeling?
The last 20 laps, it really built up. You kind of knew what it was going to come to, and it was kind of like Billy said, it was just a build-up of everything we had talked about. We kind of knew exactly, like it was a script of what's going to happen. So thankfully, the stage ends kind of worked out the same way as the end of the race, as everything kind of got crazy about the same point. So we kind of knew the point of where things were kind of going to go wild, and they did. So I kind of told them on the radio, and I said, it's going to get pretty wild when they fan, just stay middle. That's kind of been our plan all along there toward the end. So definitely kind of how we drew it up. That's kind of what we laughed about the first time I seen him in victory lane. I said, just like we planned it. But you can never really plan these things, and you kind of just hope it works out for the best, and that's what it did.
I was gonna say, I didn't get the part of the script where all the Toyotas crashed, so we got the track position.
That part was definitely
I didn't get the updated version.
That part was definitely not.
Yeah, he took it out of your deck. He didn't want you to know about that one.
I didn't
About that one.
As long as you brought it up, let's talk about it. Because that could have been disastrous for you. It was a disaster.
Yeah, for a lot of us Toyotas.
It was
But it
horrible.
worked out for the ones that survived it, so I don't know, it's crazy, right?
You said no comment when asked when you had planned to do that move where the Toyotas all pulled in together. When did you plan it? And in the media center after the race, you said no comment.
Yeah, I feel like, my boss and a few other people have talked about it enough. Maybe one of our spotters here too. So, yeah, I guess a little bit more out in the open about the whole thing, right? So, yeah, we had the plan to come down together as a group, and I thought the execution of it could have been better, but it still did what it needed to, and I feel like we weren't really even up to speed yet. It was just a freak deal. That tunnel they put in, a few years ago now into turn 3 has really made a track that you could almost push all the way around. Very tricky right at the end of the long super stretch in the back there. So yeah, I looked in my mirror and saw that, and I was just immediately like, holy cow, that was big. Hope everyone's okay. And then it took a couple seconds, and I was like, oh wait, we're about to cycle to the lead. Okay, well this isn't all bad for us, I guess. So crazy.
We all stand together, so as soon as it happened, I know all of our radios kind of lit up with the same thing as, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. And you all kind of look at each other and you don't even know what to say. Like you can't say anything, but for us, it was quickly realizing like, okay, this is gonna be a good thing for us. It's definitely not a part of the script, but you just have to take it. That's part of the adversity to winning these races is being able to face adversity and come through is 90% of the battle of winning. You look back at all our past wins, and there's some point where you think you're not going to win the race, and you just have to, stay persistent with it.
Leaving after Talladega and a big win at Talladega. What do you love most about your spotter?
His work ethic. He works really, really hard. I've been fortunate to work with some good spotters over the years, but never have I worked with a spotter like Nick that's been willing to put in the time, the effort, the level of commitment that he does, and. It's a tough thing, for him. He was stepping into last year, his first year as a full-time Cup spotter. That's a huge undertaking, especially stepping into an organization that's trying to grow and trying to win races and trying to prove ourselves. It's a lot to deal with mentally, and he's done a really good job with it. He works really hard, like I said, works really good with my team, with my engineers. He's always done a really good job of feeding them new ideas, feeding them information. The work that he puts in does not go unnoticed. It's a huge quality of his that I don't think a lot of other spotters in our sport are really tapping into.
Tyler, really good job.
I didn't get to the parts of him that are bad.
I was going to say,
I can
I have a copy of that last part?
Yeah, see you later.
I was getting ready to roast him.
And
All
all the
right,
good
here's all the
Oh,
bad
I'll
stuff.
ask him now that Tyler is left.
Oh, he'll tell
Good
you.
to see you, Tyler. Well, now that Tyler has left, let's get to the real dirt. He said, you didn't ask me about the things I don't like about my spotter. What would those be? What does he get on you for, if there is anything? What does he not like?
Honestly, there's just certain situations where, he does get frustrated, but we do a pretty good job together. Everything we've worked together the last 2 years, and everything we've built on has kind of came to this point, and I would say it's the best it's ever been for us. Thankfully, I don't think there's too many things he complains about, but there's definitely always room to change and improve and adapt, and that's kind of just how the sport is, and he does a great job, so he's been good to work with. Him and Billy both, and everybody here is always willing to help, and all the resources we have is just great to build on our relationship.
Well, drivers are always like, especially at super speedways like Talladega, you talk too much. You don't talk enough.
Right.
It's hard to hit that sweet spot. Do you think you're there?
I do. I think we've kind of found a balance of where we need to be. When I first came in, I would say that was probably one of our weakest points was plate racing. we had a really disappointing first year together in that sense, and we took the winter and we decided this is what we want to build on. That was the goal. Billy, Tyler, and all these guys said we need to build on our plate racing program, and that's kind of where we lost the most points last year. It kind of hurt us there in the playoffs, and we wanted to build on that. We came into Daytona, we won the first duel, and that was a good start. Disappointing 500, disappointing through Atlanta. We just kind of wanted to keep building on that, and I would say, even though we didn't control the race or dominate, I think it's truly a testament to what we've put in through the winter and our planning and all the things we've studied and watched. And Tyler was very, very hard on himself about being better, about making decisions and things like that, and I was able to help him as much as I could. But like I said, it's tough when you don't control the race and everybody kind of says you stole one or things like that in the headlines, and I don't think it's necessarily that. It's a game of patience now. This car's so much different. The package is way different than it used to be, where you could make moves and create fourth lanes and things like that. And now it's the more patient guys are better, and I do my best to help Tyler with that.
I thought it was really interesting, and I haven't heard him tell anyone else that, is when Tyler said that the fuel saving, which people complain about and some drivers complain about, which happened at Talladega, that it's getting more and more intense during that time. And some of the spotters said, well, we don't really have to do much when that happens. But now if he's right, you're really still up on the tiptoes during the fuel saving part of the superspeedway race like at Talladega.
You are. I constantly kind of compare it to you're sitting in a four-way intersection and just kind of waiting on everybody else to go. You kind of just have to wait and see what happens, everything around you. It's a big question mark because you don't know how much other guys are saving and how much you've saved and things like that. So that's something we definitely worked hard on, is knowing how much to save and how to convey the information to him to save more, or to be better at savings and things like that. So that's definitely a huge part of it. I would say that's 80% of it, and that's all him. So it's typical the spotters are more help at super speedways, but I'll say it's still 80% of the driver. It's in his hands on being able to save the most and have that for the end.
Use a code word for the fuel saving? Come on.
We do have a lot of code words every week. They're constantly changing, so that's bad news for all those guys trying to figure out what our words are. But yeah, we do have some codes that we mix in, but thankfully didn't have to use them very much. He kind of knew exactly what he needed, but we do have some things we can pass to him if he does get a little slack behind the wheel. So.
Now, do you use normal code words, like words that you're just in a normal conversation, so that if we're listening on the scanner, we're like, oh, you're not picking up it. You're not saying watermelon or like the...
Fortunately, all our code words we have great sponsors for code words. I always tell people that. McDonald's, Monster Energy, all these companies, Jordan Brand, depending on our paint scheme, we have great code words for those. So we have very, very good sponsors, but yeah, everything's typically something, shoe related or McDonald's menu items or anything along those lines. So it actually can get fun at times, but yeah, we definitely do use those at times.
Inside information of them.
A little bit.
People forget to say to a guy like you, you've worked so hard, during the off season, leading up to it. What does this win mean to you, Nick?
I definitely, this one's big for me personally, just because it is my second year full-time and with Tyler. I've built a relationship with this place over the past few years. I did some secondary spotting with Bubba and Freddie Kraft, who is Bubba's spotter. I did that for a couple years before joining on full-time with Tyler. So this definitely kind of validates everything we've worked toward here at 2311. And I try to be selfless about it. I think this win means the most to me because I know the 45 team needed it the most. Those guys, it's one of the hardest working groups in the garage. Everything they do, everything they put in, sometimes, things like Texas, I know Tyler mentioned, slip away from you, and it's very, very, very hard, especially for those guys. So to come back with this and to help build our team up was, so much more than for me. I mean, obviously this validates a lot for me as my first super speedway win.
You're an average guy who you walk through a crowd at the mall, people wouldn't recognize you like they would Tyler. So when you run into Michael Jordan celebrating the win, or you see him, down on pit road after, really truthfully, what's it like for you? And then when you get Michael Jordan up in the spotter stand?
I would love to have him on the spotter stand. He would definitely be the tallest person up there.
He would love it.
He would love it. It definitely adds a different aspect of things when MJ's on your box listening. You definitely, the pressure's on, always, every time he's there, and every weekend in general with him as an owner. And we have so many great owners and so many great people involved. We constantly strive to just compete at the best level we can.
Had to fight the urge to get a selfie with them?
Yeah, you fight that almost all the time you're around them. You know, I was one of the people who actually knew MJ was there. The cameras are not shy of showing him on the TV screens, and we get a good view of everything.
Oh, so you knew when your
know.
driver didn't even know?
I did know.
Congratulations.
Thank you
What
very
a
much.
great win.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
At Airspeed with 2311 Racing, and Steve Loletta, the president of 2311. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the room and the building. This place is phenomenal. I want you to, yes, we'll talk about the Talladega win, but the win comes at a great time with the momentum of this building.
The beginning of our 4th season, and especially the first season to be working at Airspeed. We moved in here at the end of last year, started building all the cars that we race in 2024 out of here. It's just spectacular. We still haven't opened it to the public, which we're going to do soon, so folks can come and see what we get to work in and be part of every day. But what the work that Denny and Michael and a bunch of folks on our team put into making this the home that it is for us has been everything that I could imagine and more.
You said when you took this job, I think it was 2021 or something, and you said, why would I do that? I have done it for 10 years or something.
That's
but then you
right.
said it was a clean slate,
Yeah.
right? And you took it. And is it for moments like this, the win at Talladega, the Michael Jordan in victory lane, you look back and you think, this is why I did it?
That's exactly right. Yeah, 100%. I've been lucky enough to be around this sport for a really long time and get to do a lot of great things. And building this team, helping build it from day one, was really something that I thought was going to be really special, and has turned out to be that plus more than I can imagine. The people here are fantastic. The opportunity we have, both on and off the track, has been amazing. The partners we get to work with, the programs we've done, you know, everything is what I hope for and more, and it all came to fruition in Talladega for sure.
How do you capitalize on that? What happens when Michael Jordan is in victory lane and he is at the track for the first win? You've won before, but not with Michael Jordan there. What happens? The phone rings a lot? What's it like?
Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody saw how we capitalize on it, because it's not us. The noise around the win, the coverage of Michael being there, the excitement that he had, I mean, that made it all worthwhile for all of us to see somebody of his success, and particularly in competition from his NBA days, and his enthusiasm for the sport coming out the way it did. Everybody noticed it. Everybody here in the building was proud of it. Our partners, you know, to have Jordan Brand on the hood of the car, but all of our other partners to come along with us for that win and that ride. It's just part of the process, right? I don't think there's anything special we're doing, because it's just another building block in what 2311 is all about, what our future's all about, the ability for us to make an impact in the sport, far beyond what the normal or typical team is doing, is really something we pride ourselves on. We are bringing new fans to the sport. We are bringing a more diverse fan base to the sport. We're really early in that journey, and we're just going to keep working on it.
Denny Hamlin, the co-owner with Michael Jordan, he was talking about early on that once Michael Jordan sold his interest in the NBA team here in Charlotte, that he started wanting to be a part of all the emails and everything, right? So does Jordan get that involved, and then post-win, does he get that involved? And, you know, is he calling you up? Is he sending you notes about what you got for Talladega?
Yeah, the beauty of our ownership group is they let us do what we need to do day in and day out. I think they feel like they've brought the right people in on the business side, on the competition side, to kind of know what needs to happen. You know, Denny's the same way. Obviously, he's driving. Michael's got a lot of other things going on. So from a day-to-day perspective, we've got our head down. We feel like we've got a good handle, the leadership team here, on what we need to do. They're always there for a question. They're always there for input, which we find very, very valuable and important. And they're there to set the tone of what we want to be as a culture and as a team and as an organization. So the more information and support we get from them on that, the better off we're going to be.
So was there a party after the win at Talladega?
There was, yeah. We got together that night, which was fun. We have a tradition here. Michael has a tequila brand called Sincoro. And so our tradition that we started way back in 2021 is that we'll all get together and have a little sip of that as a toast for a win. So we did that after the victory as an organization. People can drink water if they want. But yeah, we have our own things here that we'll do after every win. So far we've been lucky to have 6 of them plus the duel for a total of 7 in 3 seasons in a few months, I think is pretty good.
So far.
So
and
far.
it's just like, what, April?
Yeah, just getting going.
Okay, so does Michael send over the tequila then? I love that idea.
No, of course we're going to go buy it and support the cause.
So you're a good...
Yeah, we're a good customer.
You're a good customer. All right, let's talk about the race. Where are you at the end of the race at Talladega? Where are you watching it? What pit box are you on? Tell us where you're at and what you're seeing and your reaction.
Yeah, I was in the 45 pit box. I was standing with Michael, kind of watching everybody look at the TV. That's the one thing about, particularly Talladega, where the 45 pit box was, where the start finish is, farther down towards turn 1. We really couldn't see the action itself, so everybody was kind of watching it on TV. But when we heard Tyler on the radio and everybody started jumping around and screaming, it's always fun to give high fives and hugs and see the joy in everybody. And I feel like everybody on the team certainly appreciated Michael's excitement, as I said earlier, and his enthusiasm for just wanting to be part of that with the guys and the women of the team and follow that to victory lane. So it was definitely a win that I'll remember forever.
Now, I asked this to Tyler, but I want to get your take. Michael Jordan is there for the first time when the team wins. Does that take the pressure off, or does that put the pressure on because now he's tasted it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the expectations are we're going to be competitive every race that we go to. We're going to have fast cars, which we have. And in this 5-year plan that Denny outlined, which we're in year 4 of, which was to, by the end of 5 years, be a consistent threat to win races and a championship contending team. We've got work to do on that, but I feel like personally my evaluation of it is that we're really tracking in the right manner to that plan. So we put pressure on ourselves every week, and that's not going to let up, no matter who's there with us or who's not there with us.
Because here's the thing, and we've talked about a lot today, but I'm going to add one more thing. He's in the playoffs now. Reddick's in, and it's early on.
Yeah.
It's an early win. What does that mean?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we did that last year with the win at Coda. Again, it doesn't take off these guys on the 45 team. We've got to do the same with Bubba to get him locked in. But, the feeling here is we are a contender each week, and we've got to put more than one win on the board for both teams. For me personally, my goal this year would have multiple wins for both teams if we could get there. So a lot more work to be done for sure.
I think you guys started 2311 and you had to go to somebody's garage or somebody's, extra shop space, right? It was nothing.
Yeah, we had nothing.
You had nothing.
We had nothing.
And now you're in airspeed, right? I mean, just look around. It's a big deal. Would you have thought that it would have come this far, this fast?
I hoped it would. I mean, again, it's such a hard sport. It's so dependent on people and processes and partners, all the things that have to come together. It's a giant puzzle piece. People will ask me all the time, like, well, what's the one thing that you need to do? And my answer is there's a million things, right? It's always more than one thing in this business, in any business. So to be able to put the pieces together so far, to have the level of success, again, both on and off the track we've had, I think everybody here is really proud of it, but not satisfied, so more to do.
So when Michael Jordan is at the track, and then that lends itself to more coverage on sports talk, sports TV, ESPN, et cetera, because Michael Jordan. Does that help you with bigger sponsors as well? I mean, are people like waiting outside the door to get in? Because there was a lot of visibility of this win, mainstream sports.
Yeah, I mean, building the brand that we are, I talk about 2311 as a brand that we're building that happens to be a race team, not a race team brand. We're trying to reach outside of, and we want core NASCAR fans to love this team and support us, but we also want to reach outside of that. Our partners help us do that. Potential partners that we have conversations with see that in us, and the ability that they could do some non-traditional, innovative things with our team, and that's what allows us to have the conversations we have. It allows us to capitalize on what happened in Talladega because people are noticing it. They are hearing about what our brand is and who we are, and that certainly is beneficial.
At the end of the race at Talladega, Tyler Reddick is not winning, and Michael McDowell is. Are you thinking, whew, I'm so glad he's not the leader right now? Because a lot of times they say third or fourth is the spot to be at Talladega. If you're leading, it doesn't usually play well.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, we weren't, when he came off of turn 4 in fifth or sixth or whatever it was like, let's get out of here with our car in one piece.
Yeah.
And then, as you know, and have seen many times, you just never know what's going to happen. And the way he kept his foot in it and just went through that wreck, somehow didn't make it. A couple of years ago, we came to the line with 2 cars running in the top 5, and both of them didn't make it through. So it's just one of those things where you just, cross your fingers and hope.
How do you look at the family aspect for Tyler and how he's matured? He's got a fiance now. He's a young father, and he's a confident guy, but he seems to be even more grounded. Yeah,
he's been a pleasure. I was lucky enough to work with him back in the Xfinity days at the former team I was at Ganassi, and to see his growth, both as a driver and off the track, the way he works with our partners, his work ethic. I mean, he puts in so much time and effort, with his team on his racecraft. He's open to input from Denny. Him and Bubba have built a great relationship. I remind people all the time, because a lot forget, last year was a bonus year for us. Like, we weren't supposed to have Tyler Reddick driving for 2311 until this season, and we got him based on the unfortunate circumstances with Kurt a year early, and that was really beneficial to have him and Billy and Nick and the team working together so that this season, we had that background and we were able to capitalize on it coming off of, finishing 6th in points last year. We feel like they're in a really good spot as a whole team, and they just keep building on that.
Kurt, does he still play a role, and how does that help, and what role, because we haven't talked about this, I don't think anybody has mentioned Kurt Busch, and yet he's behind the scenes. What do we not see there?
Yeah, Kurt's for sure here. He is working with our guys, bringing his experience as a driver, bringing his enthusiasm for the sport. You asked earlier if we had a party when we got back from Talladega. Yeah, it was at Kurt Busch's place because he wants to be involved in helping build the culture here and celebrating. It was he has a garage here, and so we were able to go, and he's part of that because he knows how hard these are to get and how much you need to celebrate for that short amount of time before you get to the next one. He's always been great for us. He works with our partners off the track. He's been a great supporter now that we have Air Force with our team. Obviously, Monster and the Beast have a big relationship with Kurt. So there's many ways that he's still part of it. I don't know if you walk down the one staircase here, but we have our Kurt Busch wall with a picture of him winning in Kansas in the other Jordan brand scheme, so that he's always part of Airspeed as much as he's always part of 2311.
So Kurt bought the tequila.
I didn't say that. You said that.
It's a good question though, right? Okay, so let's also talk about what this means when you have a race like Talladega in which you don't crash your car. I mean, this is something people forget to ask, and I don't want to forget it. It's a financial thing too. Talladega eats up sheet metal and race cars, right? So the financial side of Talladega is something you see as a president of a race team. When you walk away and you don't crash your car.
That's the surprise, and the benefit. You go in thinking you're going to come out of there with stuff that you're going to write off, and that's part of the budgeting process when we look at how many super speedways we're going to race. So to have that car here, it's still got the confetti on it. When we do open Airspeed, we think it's going to be part of that celebration, so fans can come and take a look at it. But the the fact that it was in the shape it was in kind of surprised a lot of us. But yeah, it's definitely a lucky strike extra when you can come back without a car that's in pieces that you don't want it to be in.
So airspeed, open to the fans. What will the fans be able to see, feel, experience at airspeed?
Yeah, we're going to have them have a look inside of what 2311's about. We've got some opportunities to see into different areas of our facility that maybe you haven't been able to see in other facilities when you come to Charlotte and look around town. You're definitely going to be able to see the cars that we're going to race for that week or next week, the guys working on the cars. There'll be some photography, Instagrammable moments, and some things that you can get while you're here. We have an interactive screen on one wall that you'll be able to order merchandise, interact with our partners. There's going to be a lot of interesting things that hopefully fans will be able to come and see this place multiple times and experience it differently every time.
Fans want to know, I know this, I can almost hear in my ear that they're telling me to say, well, when we get there, can we buy some badass merch?
Yeah, we'll have some, as we like to say, some limited edition stuff that will rotate out here. There isn't a store here, so it's going to be a little bit of a different approach to merchandise, but we will have some things that fans could
So
get.
you'll order it up,
Order it up
ship
and
to your house.
No, you might be able to order it up and take it home. It's just going to be a little bit different.
I love that. There'll be a lot of different things.
At limited times, limited quantities of things that'll rotate out. So we want to have people want to come here multiple times and sort of maybe build up their collection of what they get at airspeed.
Very, very cool. Last thing I want to ask you, what does it mean personally to you that Tyler Reddick won and the 45 team at Talladega? Like personally, what's the heart for you? What is the part that, you carry yourself very well, but what's the part that really means a lot?
Well, I think it's what we've all been able to see come to fruition here, right? When it was me getting a phone call from Denny and Curtis Polk saying, hey, we have to build this team in 4.5 months, and the first handful of people, Mike Wheeler and Mike LaRusso and others that, were here to be able to say, what do we do now? And watch that happen over, 3 seasons and 10, 11 races that got us another trophy in Talladega. It means the world that what we're doing is actually the right thing and paying off, so to speak, and that all the tons of hours and work and brain power and sweat that we put into us is actually sitting right here.
Well, since the winner's circle is sort of here celebrating the win at Talladega, where's the tequila?
Yeah, we probably have some around.
Thanks for having us here, and a big congratulations on the win at Talladega.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.